Good evening. You're watching Left, Right and Centre. I'm Nidhi Razdan. On the show this evening, a political row breaks out over the Planning Commission's new poverty figures, which say there's been a dramatic 15% decline in poverty in the last 7 years under the UPA government. As the BJP cries conspiracy, we examine the data and the methodology used. Has poverty really declined so much so quickly, or is this a political ploy before the elections? Also tonight, from linking the Indian Mujahideen to the Gujarat riots and Advani's Rath Yatra to the rise of terrorism, is the Congress playing a dangerous double game on terror? But first tonight, opposition parties and even a UPA ally have strongly criticised the Planning Commission's poverty figures, which show a 15% decline in poverty in the last 7 years. The BJP has called it a conspiracy on the eve of elections, while ally the NCP says the methodology used simply doesn't stand and must be revised. Many economists have also been critical of the figures, which essentially say those who spend 27 rupees a day in rural India and 33 rupees a day in urban India are not poor.
Prices are skyrocketing. Inflation is at 11.21%. But the Planning Commission still believes that in rural India, if you spend 27.2 rupees a day and in urban India 33.3 rupees a day, you are not poor.
हम तो चुनौती देते हैं प्लानिंग कमीशन वालों को कि जरा जी के तो देखो।
प्रगति काफी हुई है, देश में गरीबी पहले के बनिस्बत कम हुई है, लेकिन योजना आयोग के जो आंकड़े हैं और विशेष करके जो उन्होंने एक सीलिंग लगाई है वो बिल्कुल सरासरी गलत है।
In one clean swipe, over 13 crore people are not poor anymore. And it's not just this calculation of poverty that's being slammed. The opposition today called the Planning Commission's figures, which shows 15% decline in poverty, a conspiracy.
चुनाव के पूर्व संध्या पर अपना रिकॉर्ड ठीक दिखाने की ये घिनौनी कोशिश है।
The Planning Commission cites NSSO survey on consumption expenditure to say that in 8 years, that's from 2004 to 2012, the below poverty line or BPL population is down from 37% to 22%. That is a decline of 2% every year.
Many are questioning is that if 22% of Indians are living below the poverty line, then how has the government decided to give food subsidy to 67% of India's population? Government says the calculation for both is different.
अगर एक फैमिली में 5 जन हैं और वो 5,000 रुपया महीना कमाते हैं और उससे कम कमाते हैं तो वो बिलो पॉवर्टी है। उस आधार पे उन्होंने कहा है कि 37% से 21% हो गई है।
According to the World Bank, nearly 70% of India's population lives on less than $2 or about 120 rupees a day, often cited as the baseline for poverty in the country. The Planning Commission seems differs. With Anchal Vora in New Delhi, Soumya Menon, NDTV.
Well, you can take part in this debate as well on your Android or iOS devices. You can go onto our second screen app and look at the questions there. Type in your question that you'd like the panelists to answer this evening. Have poverty levels really declined as dramatically as the Planning Commission says? Joining us tonight from the Planning Commission is Mr. Arun Maira. Also with us tonight, we have Smita Gupta, leading economist. We have social activist Nikhil De. We have M.K. Venu, the executive editor of The Hindu. And the politicians on the panel this evening, the BJP spokesperson Lalita Kumaramangalam and the Congress Sanjay Jha. Let me ask Mr. Maira first. Mr. Maira, how do you respond to the wave of criticism the Planning Commission's figures have got, not just from the opposition, but also from leading economists who say the methodology is flawed and it simply doesn't stand?
Well, I would agree that the figure of 27 rupees in rural areas and 33 is not accurate. I think even the Planning Commission and the government have admitted that, and therefore they've appointed the Rangarajan Commission to look at what would be the income levels or consumption levels of people who are poor in the country. However, what the Planning Commission has put out is that given the present methodology, what has been the present methodology means the present levels of poverty, which are very low, too low. How much has the decline been in the last few years? And even if, and it's been a fair amount, and even if you increased the consumption levels at below which you consider people to be poor, the decline would still be there. The slope of the line would still be there downwards. So that is the point actually that the Planning Commission has put out, and not that the poverty level should be 27 and 33, which, as I said, it's been admitted that's wrong, and therefore the Rangarajan Commission has been appointed to come to new figures.
But why not wait then for the Rangarajan Commission to come out with the new methodology and a new basis on which to do this? Why the hurry then to put out these figures, and why not just wait?
Well, as I've said, the trend, the downward trend will not change or hardly change if you lift the poverty line or the level of poverty upwards. It will be still from a lower number previously to a lower number now than the present decline is. So the slope of the line would remain the same. So that is the point that the Planning Commission has made as soon as the revised NSSO numbers came out. So we're just pointing out that with the new numbers, this is what the picture is. And again, I repeat that the 27 and 33 rupees is not acceptable, and therefore that is going to be gone into again. And if that lifts the poverty level, I repeat again, the downward slope would still be there.
Well, I would just like to just say before Smita Gupta, responds to you is that, maybe people would just like this to be based on data that everybody trusts, because right now it sounds like a bit of a pat on the back for the UPA government. The Planning Commission says that, this has been the most rapid decline in poverty under the UPA's rule. Smita Gupta, you were shaking your head there. Do you believe that the Planning Commission has jumped the gun on this and
I think
released
it's
these
really
figures?
bizarre to have a member of the Planning Commission admit that the level is wrong, but the direction of decline is right. I think that's really something, because the level of poverty is not just a debate like how many angels can dance on the tip of a needle. It's important to determine people's rights and access to so many welfare schemes. Therefore, the level itself is extremely important. But the second and more crucial issue is, how do you define poverty? I think poverty has been clearly defined as a certain calorific intake. Now what they're actually doing is redefining poverty by the back door. Because if you look at even the 2009-10 data, because I haven't seen this year's data in detail, this round data in detail, but what do you find? If you look at 2,400 calories as the cutoff in rural areas and 2,100 in urban areas, you have 76% of India's population consuming less than this. You look at the high levels of anemia, you look at the high chronic energy deficiency in this country. To celebrate a declining slope of a line rather than the level of poverty and the malnutrition, hunger and poor health status of the people of this country, I think is a really cruel joke on our people.
And so the focus is completely wrong.
It's
Why do you
completely
think
wrong.
the figures were released now then?
I don't know. I think it's a completely, I don't know, it's a flawed strategy even politically. Because who in their right mind can think that somebody can live on 27 rupees a day or 33 rupees in a day? In fact, I was very, it's a strange thing, but I was in a way pleased at the last time when they said 23 rupees, because it exposed to the whole country the hollowness of the very, very dubious methodology that the Planning Commission uses. But using the dubious methodology, which they themselves have rejected, now they're coming out with figures, jumping the gun, not waiting for the Rangarajan committee. Why?